Let's be honest and speak directly. Kindness by itself is not your strength. On its own, it becomes a tool in the hands of those who know how to use it to control you. How many times have you been in a situation where you acted kindly, helped others, and in the end, felt empty inside? Maybe you even felt like a fool who was used. If good people didn't suffer for their kindness, comments like this wouldn't get so many likes. Maybe you told yourself that you will get something better in return. But who told you that? Who told them that? And for what reason did you both believe it? Think about it. Thinking more deeply about these things is never a waste of time. In this video, we will talk about why kindness on its own is weakness. To become a strength, kindness must be combined with other qualities. For example, power. And we will talk about these qualities later. Because kindness plus weakness equals they will use you like a fool. Kindness plus strength equals they will admire you. There are many such combinations, but more on that later. To understand the roots of this idea, we need to remember Machiavelli. He explained better than anyone how to use kindness as a tool, how to control it instead of being controlled. His book, The Princes, tells the story of how goodness without strategy is a trap. Now, try to remember a moment when you fell into that trap. The problem is not that you're a good person. The problem is that you don't know what to do with your kindness. Good people usually believe that others play by the same rules. But that's not true. The world is full of traitors and manipulators. And according to statistics, most of them are not strangers. They are close people, friends, even family. People you tried to help, and they used you. Remember how you felt the last time someone used you, because you were kind. You can share your story in the comments. It might help others feel less alone. Good people who don't know how to use kindness correctly become perfect targets for those who deceive and betray. And once again, this is not about betraying yourself or stopping your kindness. This is about seeing the world clearly. Understanding the rules of the game that not only you follow, but the whole world follows. This is a common cognitive mistake. People believe that others think the same way they do. But that's not how reality works. Kindness without strength doesn't inspire admiration. It inspires pity. Don't forget that. This video will examine Machiavelli's 7 principles that allow us to use kindness to receive benefit and respect from it, rather than being used. People think kindness is always pure, but the truth is, most kindness is born from fear, guilt, or a desperate need to be loved, not from strength, not from choice, but from a place of deep inner weakness. And sometimes they choose to be kind, not because they care, but because they're afraid of what will happen if they say no, afraid to be rejected, afraid to be judged, afraid to lose love. They give, hoping to be accepted. They help, hoping to be needed. They stay silent, hoping to be safe. But this is not goodness. This is fear, wearing a mask. Let me give you a real story. There was a man, let's call him Daniel. Daniel was the nice guy in every room. If someone needed help, he was there. If someone asked for a favor, he said yes. Even when it cost him time, energy, and his own peace. At work, they dumped tasks on him. At home, his girlfriend treated him like an emotional garbage bin. He was always available, always soft, always trying to be good. And people loved him until they didn't need him anymore. Then they forgot he existed. Daniel thought kindness would protect him. Instead, it made him invisible, exhausted, resentful, and worst of all, replaceable. You see, people don't respect kindness that comes from fear. They exploit it. They test your limits, and if they don't find any, they use you until there's nothing left. Arthur Schopenhauer once said, "Compassion is the basis of morality, but it must be paired with wisdom." Otherwise, you're not being moral, you're being manipulated. Daniel didn't need to stop being kind. He needed to stop being afraid. Because kindness without boundaries isn't love. It's self-destruction. And if you're always trying to save everyone, you'll end up being the one who needs saving. Niccolò Machiavelli was never interested in being liked. He was interested in truth, the kind of truth most people are too scared to say out loud. He believed that kindness, when used without strategy, doesn't lead to respect. It leads to weakness, and weakness invites attack. In his most famous work, The Prince, Machiavelli wrote, "It is much safer to be feared than loved, if one must choose, not because fear is better, but because love, when not combined with respect, becomes fragile, temporary, manipulatable, and that's the part most people miss. Kindness without limits turns you into a resource, a tool, a convenience. Machiavelli didn't say, be cruel. He said, be aware, be smart. Use kindness as a weapon, not as a weakness. He understood something brutal. The world is not fair. People don't always respond to good with good, and those who appear the kindest are often the most dangerous because they know how to wear the right mask. Let's go deeper. If you're always good, always soft, always saying yes, people will learn how to control you. Not because they're evil, but because you gave them the instruction manual. Your patterns teach people how to treat you. This is what Machiavelli warned us about. Predictability is vulnerability. And this doesn't just apply to kings and rulers. It applies to you, in your relationships, your workplace, your everyday life. Let's take an example. A woman named Anna was known for her kindness. She brought food to co-workers, stayed late to help. She never said no, even when she was exhausted. Everyone liked her, but no one respected her. One day, a new manager arrived. He saw how Anna acted and started pushing extra work onto her, without asking. Others followed. She became the office dumping ground. Why? Because she trained them. She thought her kindness would protect her from conflict. Instead, it made her invisible, just like Daniel. This is what Machiavelli meant when he warned about being too generous, too forgiving, too soft. Not because those are bad traits, but because without boundaries, they destroy you. You become loved for your obedience, not your strength. And when you're no longer useful, they'll move on. So what's the answer? Machiavelli wasn't against kindness. He was against blindness. Be kind, but calculate. Help, but set limits. Love, but never lose yourself in the process. Because in the real world, people don't follow saints. They follow power, wrapped in just enough charm to keep them close, and just enough fear to keep them respectful. And if you don't understand that, someone else will understand it better than you, and use it against you. Kindness is supposed to be beautiful, pure, noble, but in the wrong hands it becomes a weapon. Not a weapon you use, a weapon they use against you. Because once someone knows you won't say no, you've given them power, and they will push that boundary again and again until it's gone. Let's stop pretending all people are good. Some are predators, not the kind that kill, but the kind that bleed you slowly, emotionally, mentally, psychologically. And what makes you the perfect victim? Your kindness. There's a pattern manipulators follow, and you've probably seen it. 1. They test you with small requests. 2. You say yes because you're nice. 3. They increase the pressure. 4. You stay silent because you don't want drama. 5. They take control and call it love or friendship. And then one day, you wake up and realize you're not helping anymore. You're serving. Let me give you an example. There's a guy named Marcus. Quiet, generous, always reliable. His so-called best friend had money problems. Marcus paid. He needed a place to stay. Marcus offered his couch. When that friend cheated on his girlfriend, Marcus kept the secret. Why? Because he didn't want to abandon him. But months later, when Marcus needed help, no one came. Not that friend. Not anyone. His kindness had been taken, used, and then discarded. And when Marcus tried to express his pain, they called him selfish, ungrateful, too emotional. This is the trap. Manipulators flip the story. You become the problem for finally setting a boundary. They gaslight you into silence, and you start to believe that maybe you did something wrong. But here's the truth. Your only mistake was not seeing kindness as a resource, something you must protect, not give away freely. If you never say no, your yes means nothing. If you always give, they stop valuing what you offer. People don't respect endless kindness. They come to expect it. And once it's expected, it loses value, like air, like background noise. You become that guy, that girl, that soft one who'll never push back. It's not just about being kind. It's about being used for it. And when that happens, your kindness becomes your cage. Arthur Schopenhauer once said, "To be compassionate is human. To be wise with your compassion is survival." That's the line you must walk. You don't need to stop helping people. You need to stop bleeding for people who wouldn't lift a finger for you. And if you don't learn to weaponize your kindness, someone else will, and aim it straight at your heart. So now you see the problem. Kindness without strength isn't noble. It's dangerous to you. But what's the solution? What does it mean to be kind without being used? How do you flip the equation? The answer is simple to understand, but hard to practice. It's called strategic ruthlessness. Let's break it down. First, kindness is a currency. Spend it wisely. Most people treat kindness like an unlimited supply. They give and give, hoping it will pay off one day. But kindness is not charity. It's an investment. And every investment needs risk management. Would you give your money to someone who never pays you back? Why do you give your time, your help, your emotional labor to people who don't return anything? Kindness must be earned. It must be measured. And above all, it must be intentional. Give, not because you're scared of rejection, but because you've chosen to give. On your terms, with eyes open. 2. Learn to say no and mean it. This is the foundation of strategic kindness. If you can't say no, your yes means nothing. A powerful person knows when to refuse. They don't explain. They don't apologize. They understand that a closed door is sometimes more valuable than an open one. Your time, your energy, your emotional space. These are limited resources. And if you don't protect them, people will use you until you burn out. Practice saying, "I'm not available for that. That doesn't work for me." I have other priorities. Simple. Director. Non-negotiable. The moment you set boundaries, you stop being a victim and start being a person of value. 3. Be generous, but never predictable. Machiavelli warned us, predictability is vulnerability. If people know that you'll always help, always forgive, always give in, they will use it. But if they're unsure, if they don't know what you'll do, they respect you more. This doesn't mean being cold or manipulative. It means being selective, intentional, surprising in your kindness, not automatic. Let your kindness feel like a gift, not a duty. 4. Use kindness as leverage, not submission. Here's a truth most people never admit. Powerful people use kindness to build alliances, to gain loyalty, to influence. Not because they're saints, but because they understand human nature. If you help someone who respects you, they remember. If you help someone who only sees you as nice, they forget. Give to those who deserve. Withdraw from those who expect. Kindness is most powerful when it's rare, when it's earned, and when it comes from someone who doesn't need to be kind. That's what makes it valuable. Fifth, kindness is not the opposite of strength. It's a function of it. Weak people think being kind will make them strong. Strong people know they can afford to be kind because they're already powerful. This is the reversal you must make in your mind. Don't be kind to become strong. Become strong so you can be kind. Kindness backed by strength is inspiring. Kindness backed by weakness is pathetic. That's not an insult. That's reality. 6. Train your inner judge. Every time someone asks for your help, your attention, your energy, ask yourself, does this person add value to my life? Are they helping me grow? Would they do the same for me? If the answer is no, you owe them nothing. Your time is your kingdom. Don't hand it over to beggars who offer no return. 7. Good people with strong boundaries are unstoppable. This is the final lesson. You don't have to become cruel. You don't have to betray your values. You don't have to turn dark. But you do need to know where you end and where others begin. You need to stand for yourself. And when necessary, walk away without looking back. Because when you combine kindness with clarity, power, and limits, you become something rare. You become the kind of person people admire and fear losing. That's what you should aim for. Kindness plus fear equals slavery. Kindness plus strength equals legacy. Be remembered for how you helped others, but also for how you protected yourself. Because this world doesn't reward open hearts, it rewards open eyes. And in the end, you're not here to be used. You're here to become unbreakable. So here's the truth. You were never weak because you were kind. You were weak because you didn't protect it. From this day on, that changes. Start filtering who gets your energy. Start saying no without guilt. Start helping from a place of power, not fear. Because real kindness begins where fear ends, and power begins where clarity starts. Tell me in the comments, when was the moment you realized your kindness was being used against you? What did it cost you? And what did it teach you? Your story might be the one that wakes someone else up. And if this video hits something deep, you'll want to watch the next one, where we expose the 4 silent tricks powerful people use to dominate without ever raising their voice. Until then, be kind, but never soft. Be calm, but never blind. And remember, power without kindness is feared, but kindness without power is ignored.